What if everything you've been told about how to build a startup is backwards?
Facebook, Apple, McDonald's, they're all billion-dollar companies. But what do they all have in common? You see, you know their founders, the ones with the bright ideas, but what you don't see are the genius minds who silently engineered the growth of these companies to billions of dollars and got crazy rich from it. See, they said, learn a high-income skill or get a degree and businesses will be lining up to work with you. That was a lie.
And that's the harsh reality of skills. They are now commoditized. And what does that mean? It means even if you're talented, even if you're consistent, even if you learn a skill, even if you apply every day, your skill alone will not set you apart anymore.
You see, a few years ago, I realized that the idea of our skills being in demand was just a mirage. I mean, I started my journey as a copywriter and had to learn very fast the struggle of having to stand out amongst millions of skilled professionals who also believed the lie that I did. And for several years, I remained stuck trying to gain the trust of the global market as an upcoming freelancer from a developing country like Nigeria. Now, fortunately, I discovered an unconventional path that made me the most valuable person to any company. And honestly, you're probably going to hate it. But it took me from being a $50 copywriter to having my company be featured on a billboard in New York Times Square for being one of the fastest growing consulting firms in the world. And it also gave me the opportunity to travel and partner with some of the highest achieving experts and leaders across the globe. Now, if I had to go back 3 years ago and do this all over again, there'll be 3 significant shifts that I would be making systematically. And I revealed these 3 shifts at a TEDx workshop that I did in Nigeria recently. So if you're someone, anybody, wherever in the world you may be, with a skill and a dream to go global, then I hope this training will be the most valuable video that you watch this year. With that being said, cheers to growth.
How to build a profitable global business with $0 in funding. Now, quick question. Who here wants to own a business one day? Okay, good. What if everything you've been told about how to build a startup is backwards? Between 2024 to 2025, I scaled a brand new company from $0 to $100,000 in a single month in under 12 months. Without writing a single line of code, becoming an influencer. I'm actually bad at TikTok, right? Building an app or software without going viral on social media, without raising a single dollar in VC funding, without moving to Silicon Valley because my passport will not allow me to do so, without having a big team or renting an office. And I did it while disturbing my dad living in his house before I turned 25 in Nigeria with unstable electricity and unreliable internet. So all of you can do it as well. Now, expressing all of this will turn 90% of you into doubting Thomases, because if it sounds like, is this true? Is it possible? Right? Some of you may feel a little bit angry about it. It's going to confuse old people because they don't know anything about technology. Inspire a very small percentage of you. And that's fine, because that small percentage is who I made this presentation for. I'm actually not looking for everyone to resonate with it. That's a small group of people who are going to take action. Because when I had 0 success, one of the things that fostered my delusion to keep going, other than my faith and midnight motivational walks with my dad, was seeing other people who had done exactly what I wanted to do, presenting the exact path that they followed to make it happen. Does anyone know the guy on this picture? Sweet. Okay, this guy is Alex Hormozi, by the way. If you're not following him and you want to see success in this area, this is someone you want to follow on social media. His name is Alex Hormozi, okay? Now, today, I'm going to show you the exact path I followed to achieve what I've done. So one day you can do the same or even better, regardless of who you are or where you come from, because I didn't come from any sort of privilege. So 2019 was the year that I decided I wanted to be an entrepreneur. 2 years before that, I was studying medicine in the university. Like most of you are studying something in university right now. And then an unexpected financial crisis hit my family. Okay, so this picture was me in 2019 in Zaria here, in front of my parents' house. So I came home on break one time, and I saw my dad thinner than I'd seen him before, because he got sick trying to make my dreams come true. You know, from a young age, I wanted to do something that would make me recognized, and I had this ambition to be a medical doctor. And my dad would literally do everything possible to make my dreams come true. He's seated here today. So he was thinner than I had seen him before. Apparently he was sick. And during that time period, I followed him to the clinic to get treatment. And he told me he needed a moment to catch his breath after we walked up. So I looked away for a second to observe the environment. And what came next was a loud thud behind me. What happened? Well, my dad collapsed to the floor, seemingly unconscious. I screamed for help and felt completely powerless. Thankfully, the nurses heard me and rushed down. By some miracle, he woke back up to life. And this is actually the first time I'm sharing this story in a public forum like this. But that was the day I decided I wanted to be a business owner. I wanted to be an entrepreneur. That was the day I decided I'm going to drop out from the university. And everyone thought I quit on my dreams. I just refused to make my dad pay for them with his life, because my dad was the first person to ever believe I was capable of doing great things, and he was ready to give his life to make that happen. Now, I didn't say any of that for you guys to pity me, okay? I said it because I want to establish the very first lesson. The first step towards building something that transcends your physical boundaries is to have a deep reason behind it. Some of you are here and you don't know why you want to start a business. I will tell you free of charge now, it will not work. You have ideas that you got from other people. You have this fancy idea of wanting to be a business owner because maybe it sounds cool, whatever. If you don't have a deep reason behind it, it's not going to work. If you try to start, even worse, if you try to start one for flimsy reasons like, buying more clothes for yourself or Gucci bags or Lamborghinis and whatever they're flashing on social media, you're going to quit faster than fast fashion and the Lamborghinis that you like. Because building a business is hard. It's very hard. Okay, let me discourage all of you now. It's very, very hard. And if you're going to make it happen, you need an unrealistic level of resilience and delusion inside of you that it's going to be possible. Don't worry, I didn't come here for motivational speech. I just needed to say that before we get into strategy, because the strategies I lay down are not going to work with the wrong mindset. Okay? So, without further ado, this is the unconventional path that I followed to scale my business to $100,000 a month in revenue. Now, I call it unconventional because actually I've not seen anyone, at least in this part of the world, show something like this, okay? So this unconventional path took me from being a small-time copywriter and struggling agency owner to experiencing the following events, okay? So in May of 2024, I co-founded a company called Dream Life Consulting. This is me and my business partner on June 17, 2024, right? Not too far, long ago. If you look at the date, you see it's 17th of June, 2024, and this was our payment processor. We had less than $6 in our payment. So we're owing, right? We started owing. I'm going to scroll up a bit and you're going to see what our payment processor showed at the time. So this is the dashboard of a Stripe account, which is a global payment processor. And you can see a negative balance of $5.99 there, which is $6 thereabout. 15 days later, we closed $57,000 in new deals. By April of 2025, we broke the 100K revenue mark in a single month, which meant over $100,000 in consulting deals and 92,000 of that cash collected. This is what it looks like to have $92,000 in your business bank account. In the same month, we had our firm featured on a billboard in New York Times Square. And this was it here. Now, it's not just my business partner and I anymore. We have a small, fully remote team. This is our team. It's just 4 extra people. This unconventional path brought me into rooms with some of the best high-achieving experts in the world. Starting with my business partner, Hannah, right? Published author, speaker, millions in sales, and the most productive person I've ever seen. And by the way, she wanted to say hi to you guys. So there's a video here I'm going to play because she has something to tell you.
Hey TEDx, Hannah Hermanson here, the CEO of Dream Life Consulting, and my co-founder in taking this idea of Dream Life is Real Life into a 7-figure company is Ore. And in just about 18 months of being Ore's business partner, I have learned so much about taking what I gathered in sessions like this, because in my 20s, I spent hours and hours in rooms learning about success principles and business KPIs and ways to make my dream life my real life. But it really wasn't until I partnered with Ore that I was able to monetize my ideas sustainably and scale to the 7 figures that we're at now. And so it is such an honor for me to be invited to be a small part of this conversation today, because both Ore and myself see so much potential for those of you in this room. I personally have learned so much from Ore about the power that comes from being a Nigerian and the diligence and the ruthless hard work that I've seen both in Ore and other Nigerians that we've hired in our company. There is so much potential at your fingertips. And this vehicle of entrepreneurship really is just waiting for you to seize the day, carpe diem. Because what I know about Nigerians is that when given the opportunity, when given the chance to excel, they give it their all. I mean, I have worked with Ore through him having no power in his house and working until, 4 or 5 a.m. because of the type of commitment that I continue to see just coming from your culture. And so I know that there's a lot of opportunity on the table for you today, and Ore and I are working on more and more ways to make this even more accessible for those of you in Nigeria. So I do hope you're like me, you take some notes, but you also take action today, because I always tell our clients and the amazing founders that we partner with now in our company that action brings clarity. And as much as Ore is going to share with you today, taking notes and being inspired is really just the beginning. So I hope our journey helps you not just be inspired, but really start taking the actions required to make your dream life your real life. And as Ore always says, cheers to growth.
So that was my business partner, Hannah Hermanson. Together, we work with leaders, CEOs, speakers, authors, professors, and other high-achieving experts around the world, some of which I've had the privilege of meeting in person, right? Like Mark, who's a millionaire in Cape Town, and Sonia, who's a professor in Abu Dhabi, and Susie, who's a career growth specialist with a background in the oil industry. Well, that's enough about me. Let's make it about you now. Let's talk about you. This unconventional path is for you if you've already learned a digital skill. Okay? So step 1, learn a digital skill. If we're in this room right now and we don't yet have a digital skill, don't worry. I'm going to show you what to do or what to learn. But step 1 is in catching up with the rest of the world. And the rest of the world right now, everyone, in their early 20s have some sort of digital skill that they've mastered. So if you've not yet covered that ground, again, we're going to make sure that changes before the end of this presentation. But typically I made this presentation for people with digital skills. Why? Right? I didn't want to create a presentation for something that is obsolete and something that is not futuristic anymore. It's not a new thing to learn a digital skill, right? That has been going on since 2010. And in fact, the people who have digital skills are not necessarily ahead anymore. That's not enough to compete with the rest of the world. And so I made this presentation assuming you already have a digital skill, knowing it's not going to take you time. So it's okay if you don't yet have one. I want you to listen as if though you already have one, because you will, and know what to do when you get one, because that is going to save you several years of pain and hard work and struggle to land clients. Okay? So this is for you if you've learned a digital skill, maybe design, copywriting, video editing, coding, and you are struggling to actually turn that skill to consistent income. So you find that this thing is just something you do on the side. It's not something that actually feeds you on a regular basis. You don't have a real business around it. Number two, you're trying to build a business or startup with the skills that you've learned, and you keep wondering, how do I do that without investors, without funding, without millions of dollars in the bank? And number three, you're freelancing already, and you're struggling to gain the trust of high-paying foreign clients so you can finally get paid what you're worth instead of being stuck at $50 gigs like me. So if you fall into any of those categories, I will show you the path I follow to do all of that, okay? But first, let me call something out. Traditional startup advice is BS. If you're a nobody, you didn't graduate from a privileged or Ivy League school, you come from a developing country like ours, traditional business advice says you need to have an idea, okay? And very likely every other talk you listen to today is going to be about sparking ideas, but you're not strangers to having ideas. I'm pretty sure you've been having ideas since you were 9. And you haven't yet turned that into money. So I'm not here to tell you to have an idea. I'm here to tell you to do the opposite. Don't have ideas is enough, okay? A lot of us waste time coming up with a business or startup idea in our head. We want to be the next PayPal, and that's good, right? But anyone can have ideas. Very few can bring it to life. I'm going to show you exactly how you can be the person who turns an idea into a profitable business, following what I call GAP, and that is the Growth Architect path. There are 3 main shifts that you need to leverage to become a growth architect and transform your existing skills into something that can be a business. And the first shift is to go from skill seller to something I call growth creator. Quick question for everyone with a digital skill. I need one person with a digital skill to raise his hand. I want to ask you this question. You, okay, amazing. What's your dream income? Like if you could have a magic wand, right? And just call any number and that thing would come into your bank account every single month, what would that income number be? 6 figures. In Naira or dollars? Dollars. Good, I like that. Why are you guys laughing at him? It's possible, right? Okay, good. So let's explain why you struggle to build consistent income with your service or your skills. This is the current flywheel that a lot of people are stuck on right now when it comes to digital skills, high income skills, or whatever they want to call it, yeah? So you learn a high income skill, then you offer it as a service, and then you start to compete with thousands of other people who have the exact same skill as you. Surprise. Eventually, you start thinking, okay, let me charge less so that they can choose me. It doesn't happen because business owners would literally pay more to someone else even when you're offering something cheaper to them. Then you have no stability, just constant hustle. Frustration kicks in, and then you learn another skill. So then you think, okay, maybe editing is too saturated. Let me learn UI UX, right? Oh no, copyright is not working anymore. Let me go and learn something else. Okay, no, coding is old. I need to learn another skill. And then you learn the other skill, and this same thing happens again, and then you're just spinning your wheels. This is the current flywheel, and it is caused by something I call the mirage of in-demand skills. So work with me, okay? The number one step when you get a digital skill is you need to find who to offer it to. And free advice, if you're not yet doing this, you need to pick a niche, right? And the best niche to pick is business owners because they're the ones with money. Again, this is not new information. Here's the problem. There are over 33 million businesses in the United States, which is the ideal client for every single person. And out of that 33 million number, I realized the problem when I stumbled on this data. Like this was the one shift for me. Out of that 33 million number, yeah, only 12.5 million businesses make 12.5 million businesses make less than 100K in annual revenue, which has like almost half your number. Like that's like 35% already gone that you can't reach. Only 1.4 million make between 100K and 500K annually. And only 700,000 of those businesses make between $500,000 to $1 million annually. Every other part of that number does not make any money. That's why they're not on the list. So realistically, it means only 2 million, let's say 2 million. Only 2 million businesses are the people who can make his dream come true. Because he wants to make 6 figures. And then we're seeing that the businesses themselves are not even making 6 figures. So they can't pay him the salary. Let's even imagine that every single part of their earnings is to go towards making his dream come true. They still will not be able to make it come true. And this is the thing. Many people are like, okay, choose a niche, apply. It's not working anymore because there are more freelancers or people with digital skills available than businesses that can pay them. Look at this number. So this is a search I made on LinkedIn, freelance writer. This is just one category of digital skills. This is one person that has a digital skill, freelance writer. And if you look to the right there, you're going to see 4 million. There's 4 million of them. And there's only 2 million businesses making enough to be able to pay. And this is just freelance writing. I didn't put this, I'm pretty sure if I put in video editor there, it's going to be bloody. So many other things, just freelance writer alone, like has already exceeded the number of people that they can possibly reach, to work with. And I was feeling this hit myself personally, right? Back in 2021, when I started my journey learning a digital skill, I learned copywriting and I applied for jobs every day for 6 months straight before someone took a chance on me, right? I got my first client, $50 for 10 emails. Don't play. That was big money for me that time. The fact that I could even earn money online was like creating something that like just out of nothing, I created money. Like that was light bulb moment, right? And as a newbie with no credibility, it took me 6 months of applications to finally get paid $50. Now, this client didn't actually want to underpay me. She just didn't have the money to spend, right? So she was not a bad person. She was actually like, she's still my friend till this day. She just didn't have the money to spend. And that's the harsh reality of skills. They are now commoditized. And what does that mean? It means even if you're talented, even if you're consistent, even if you learn a skill, even if you apply every day, your skill alone will not set you apart anymore. Why? Because the market is saturated. It's the exact same reason why degrees are not useful anymore in society. It's not that universities is scam, it's that universities are producing more graduates than the economy can make provision for. And that's the exact same thing that is happening to the digital economy as well, right? A lot of people have migrated or, taken as a side hustle, learning skills, and they're meeting the exact same problem there. And I'm talking about this today to hopefully save you the stress of having to go through that. There are millions of designers online, millions of freelancers, and when you introduce yourself as a copywriter or a designer, you blend into an ocean of people just like you. And what happens when the market cannot tell the difference? Then you become a commodity. And commodities only compete on one thing, price. Now here's the extra layer of problem. If you come from a developing country like Nigeria, you're not just fighting one enemy, Okay, you're fighting two. Number one, being a commodity, and number two, trying to gain trust, credibility, and brand recognition in a global market that runs away when they see your green passport. The moment they hear Nigerian, they think it's, a threat to their business. When I was turning my skill to a business, I started by starting a marketing agency back in 2023. I did all the right things, right? And for 10 months, I took sales calls. Sales calls are calls that you have with people who you want to convert to your client to work with you. So for 10 months, every single day, I was taking sales calls and zero, nothing. This was even worse than when I started copywriting, because I thought marketing agency was the key to my 6 figures a month. And then to my surprise, they didn't like my African accent. What a surprise. So that's an uphill battle you're fighting. And it's not just because you lack talent, it's because the game itself has changed. So what's the way out? Yeah? You need to make a shift from selling skills to creating growth. The good news is your skills are not worthless. They're just misaligned. No business owner wakes up wanting a copywriter. They don't wake up wanting a video editor. They don't wake up wanting a web. Some of them don't even know what it means. What they want is more customers, more revenue, higher profit margins. That's it. Everything else you say is noise to them. So here's the shift you need to make. Stop selling copywriting, design, or video editing and start selling growth outcomes tied directly to business growth. Let me show you what I mean. So if you are an editor, and I have so many of these people in my DMs, don't say, do you want an editor? Say, I will add 10,000 new followers to your audience in 90 days guaranteed. Why? Why do people hire editors in the first place? People with personal brands, right, want an editor. Maybe it's a business owner. Maybe they're trying to advertise. They want that editor because they want attention. Whether that is attention in form of followers or attention in form of customers, they want attention and they want to look good. Sell that. You need to understand the outcomes that your skills are capable of creating and have the courage to get behind commanding that outcome. Like, quick question. When I read this thing out, did it sound scary to any of you? It's supposed to sound scary, right? Because here's the challenge. The challenge is they don't trust you because there are so many of you. And so the reason why they don't trust you, the reason why, a business owner will get several messages from editors or from writers and not care to open any one of them is because he feels like it is going to be risky for him to spend money on you and then nothing comes as a result of it. It's like wasted investment. You're saying, give me your money and I don't know what's going to happen. I'm just going to write stuff. I'm just going to edit stuff for you. And so they think this is a big risk to take. To combat this trust problem and this risk that they have in their mind, you need to be the person that bears the risk. You need to be the person who puts yourself on the line, because when they see that you're putting yourself on the line, then they see that, oh, I may be able to trust this person, right? You're saying, okay, there's a bullet that may be fired and I'm willing to get in front of it if something goes wrong. I'm willing to be the one that suffers as a result of it. If you're a designer, don't pitch, I'm a designer. You need to understand why people want designs and where the most profitable segment of the market is, right? Everyone wants design. All human beings want to look good on social media. Doesn't mean you should sell to all of them, right? You should look for business owners. And why do business owners want design, or where do they spend the most money for design? It's in advertising. And so don't just say, oh, are you looking for a designer? I design ad creatives that drop your customer acquisition cost by 40% and beat your control campaigns. Now, I know that was big English. So I'm going to explain what I mean by that, right? Every time people run advertisements, they spend money, and it's very expensive for them to spend money. Let's say I'm selling something worth $500. I may need to spend $200 to acquire the person that will pay me $500. And so I'm making money, but it's not as much as I want to be. Now, if you can come in and tell me that you can change the video or the advertisement that I'm running and make a few manipulations to it such that people will get my message better and be more persuaded to buy from me. So if you can tell me that I will only spend 100, like literally less, half or 50% of what I was spending initially to make that same amount of money, I'm going to take it, because now that means higher profit margins for me, which is the thing I want most as a business owner. I'm always looking for how I can take home more to spend on my family. So you notice the difference. One makes you replaceable, which is I'm a designer, and the other one makes you very hard to resist, which is the pitch. Now, how I made this shift. In 2023, I decided to start a marketing agency. Why? Because I had the same goal he had. Well, actually less. He's very ambitious. The goal was to sign 6 clients on a $1,500 per month retainer, and that would lead to $10,000 a month for me. And for 10 months, I struggled to sign anyone new besides the people I was already working with as a freelance copywriter. So I changed my approach to doing what I just told you to do, and something crazy happened. I designed a new offer, 100% growth focused. The fee I charged, $12,000. One pitch, one new client after going 10 months with nothing. It felt like I entered a new realm with almost no competition, and one client paid what I would have needed 8 clients to pay me. So rather than be seen as just someone selling your service, you start to be seen as a growth architect that every business fights to keep, because businesses will always need more customers, more revenue, and more profit. One of our clients recently closed $23,000 in new deals in a single week. In a single week, she made back more than the $12,000 that she paid us for 5 months. And so the investment was worth it for her. Everyone wins in the end, and rather than be disposable, anyone who can deliver this is seen as irreplaceable. A huge side benefit is you also learn how to predictably create growth in a business, which means you can take the same skill to grow your own business. And so it's not a waste that you learn this, to help other businesses. You're going to apply the exact same principles to helping yourself grow your own business. Because this exact same things that I teach my clients, that I install for my clients, that I show them how to do, is the exact same thing that I'm doing to get them as clients in the first place. The second shift you have to make is you need to go from short-term pay to long-term plays. And most people don't talk about this, but it's especially necessary if you're a beginner without a brand. The fastest way to build authority for yourself is to associate yourself with people who already have a brand. Here's the short-term cash trap, okay? Most people, once they learn the skill, they're just thinking, where can I get money? Where can I get money? Where can I get money? Who can pay me immediately, right? And so they get onto this flywheel where they pitch for jobs, get low-paying clients, and then complain that the low-paying clients are stressing their life. They deliver hard and get paid once, and then they have to start from zero the very next month. And then now they start chasing more jobs. It's like you struggle to get this one client. Imagine me, like after 6 months, I finally got this one client. And then back to square one, right? Just like actors. They act in a movie and then they have to go back to auditioning again for another movie. They burn out, learn new skills, and then start pitching for jobs on those new skills again. The problem is that your income always resets to zero. You are capped by your hours, clients see you as disposable, and there's nothing compounding. So that's not a real business. A business is one that you can wake up every month and tell that money is coming in. Like you know what to do to make money happen. Like that's a business. Any other thing besides that, is just you being self-employed. It's not a business. That's why even when you're talented, even when you're hardworking, it feels like you're trapped. So here was my own personal decision to play the long game. When I was working with my first high-ticket client, the one that paid me $12,000, that person was my now business partner, Hannah, who you saw in a video recently. And while I was working with her midway through the contract, I knew I had options after the contract ended. Option one, keep playing on hard mode, try to get another client. Sure, it wouldn't take me another 10 months this time because now I had credibility, right? While working with me, Hannah made $36,000 in sales in a single week. So now I had a case study, which would help me get other clients. But to be honest, so did every decent person in the industry, especially the ones who had started before me that are not living in Nigeria with terrible internet. Option two, go the easier route, which was sticking with her. She had 9 years of experience, credibility, brand reputation, connections that I didn't have. I thought, what's the point in going our separate ways when I could save myself 9 years of brand building to command the same industry respect? So I made a decision most people won't make. And I said, instead of chasing the next client, I'm going to implement every single thing that I plan to do for myself for Hannah. Keep in mind, at that point, I had already invested $15,000 of money I didn't have in mentorships and training to learn and understand something called client acquisition. And I had been grinding, feeling like I have this big debt to pay. My dad didn't even know I was owing $15,000. I was grinding. I felt like I had this huge amount of money that I needed to pay back. So I was working extra hard and learning different kinds of sorcery tactics, right, on how to scale businesses. I just didn't have the opportunity to do it. And so when I saw her, I was like, oh, this is the perfect opportunity for me to perform every single thing that I've been learning in theory. So I pitched her a low risk, high upside offer. I said, I want 0% of your existing business. What I want is to build a new one with your brand behind it. Higher profit margins, easier clients to manage. You have none to lose. Keep running your old business. Don't pay me from that one. I want to build something new entirely. I just need your face. She said yes, and that was the seed that became the 100K per month consulting firm that I co-own today. Am I saying everyone is as awesome and kind as she is? Absolutely not. But most successful entrepreneurs are massive risk takers. So it's 100% possible that I could have taken that risk and she runs away with the money. 100% possible. Because I live in Nigeria, right? What am I going to do? Run to the US? Like, she could have done that, but it didn't happen, right? So there's a little bit of luck involved in that. And that's one thing with entrepreneurship and business. There's always a risk to take. And these most successful ones are the biggest risk takers. That should not keep you from, because if you don't take the risk, you're just going to be stuck, right? The same thing will happen. That's how I see it. If you don't take the risk of being scammed and, being cheated, you're not going to make money anyway, right? What's the worst that will happen? They run away with the money and then you don't take the risk. You never made the money in the first place. So it's like same situation. Might as well take the chance that will not happen. And here's the hard reality. Most people won't do something like this because it feels uncomfortable. It feels like doing all that work for someone else. But guess what is also uncomfortable? Starting from zero after every project. Begging for clients to trust you over and over again. And at some point, you have to be willing to do something really hard with no immediate payoff for a short period of time so you can have an easier life for years to come. 50 Cent once said, opportunity only looks like opportunity in hindsight. In real time, it looks like a crazy amount of risk. And you have to choose whether or not you are delusional enough to bet on yourself. Well, 50 Cent never said that. I just thought it would be cool to say it like that. But yeah, I have a story. So I said this in the webinar. But when I was in secondary school, my dad used to do something that I considered abuse. When I was preparing for my WAEC exam, I was going to write it from SS2 because they expected I would fail on first trial. So they wanted me to fail from SS2 so that when I write it the second time, I'm going to pass. And that meant that my schedule changed. So every day after school, I was going to demonstration secondary school, right? So school will close by 2:30, 3 p.m. I'll get back home. And by 4:30, my lesson teacher is waiting for me. So I have 1 hour of rest before my lesson. From 4:30 till 10 p.m., the lesson teacher is teaching me SS3 stuff. And from 7 p.m., my dad would have put on his generator. He won't turn it off until 1 a.m. It's like, I felt he was spending all this money on generator fuel so that if I fail, he will say that I invested so much money. No, that's not the worst part, right? The worst part is coming. Throughout that time the gen was on, he was charging one deadly lamp like that. And so when the gen goes off, he will go and turn the lamp on. And now I must continue from where I stopped till that lamp dies. Which means that I won't sleep till like 3:30 a.m. or 4 a.m. And I have to wake up by 6 to go to school again. And I had this going for 9 months straight until I wrote WAEC. If we could all hear the video Hannah mentioned, where Hannah introduced herself, she mentioned somewhere that sometimes I'm working till 4 a.m. That's where it started. But I said that story to say that I genuinely believe no one else can compete with Nigerians on this fact, on this one thing, and that is our ability to work hard for long periods of time under delayed gratification. Nigerians are very good at pursuing something for a long period of time without getting any reward from it. Think about going to university in Nigeria on its own. Strike, everything. And like you're just there and there's no reward coming your way and you're doing it anyway. I promise you, it will not take you. The worst that will happen is that it takes you 1 year to see success. If you apply that same level of hard work and stubbornness, if you apply that same level of it to this thing, you will make more money than you know what to do with. Because the truth is, everyone else out there cannot play that game like us. And so you're going to smoke the competition if given the opportunity. Now, it's not just me, by the way, right? I had this transformation. This is one of my friends in business. His name is Laith.
What's going on, TEDx family? My name is Laith Safi, and I want to give a big shout out to my brother Ore. Ore has been nothing but an exceptional leader, and I am tremendously proud of him for the amount of success he has achieved this last year. He told me he's speaking with a bunch of like-minded individuals and sort of told me to put together a short video to give you guys some context on how anything is possible if you put your head in the game, you're willing to learn new skills and adapt and sort of challenge yourself to get out of your comfort zone. So about a year ago, I moved back in with my parents to help them out. And upon doing so, I couldn't find anything for myself. Nothing was going the way I wanted it to. So unfortunately, to say this, I was working Uber. I was doing food deliveries, and at the time I was super frustrated, but I was ready and willing to learn new skills. I was putting in 20-hour days, or you could say 18, 20-hour days to get to where I wanted to be. And upon doing so, I stumbled upon someone that introduced me to someone else that allowed me to work in their company as a setter. So I had to learn a new skill, which was sales. So I really challenged myself with this position because I'm not really comfortable when it comes to talking to people or being in front of a camera. And because this was a remote position, I started as the setter. So it was dialing outbound to people, getting them set up for the closers. Upon sort of learning that role and exceeding the expectations, I was promoted to a closer. Upon exceeding the expectations and being a closer, I was sort of promoted to be a sales manager. And in that time, it was a span of 3 to 4 months. I was able to learn new skills and sort of challenge myself every single day. I put myself in a position that I sort of didn't want to be in because it took me out of my comfort zone, but I really forced myself to do so because I wanted more for myself. And upon doing so, I am very business oriented. I know how to manage a business, but I just don't know how to sell. So learning this skill was very crucial for myself. And then in January to February, I met an individual that I am currently partnered up with. And then mid-February, we started our business, and using my management and business skills with the sales skills that I learned, we were able to scale a marketing agency from $0 to $60,000 our first month. And now we're anywhere between $60,000 to $100,000 a month. So this all happened within a span of, I want to say, 8 months. We started in February and it is now August. So I just want to give you guys some insight that anything is possible. All you have to do is test your limits, get out of your comfort zone, Tell yourself you can do it, and I promise you can do it. Because if I did it, there's no reason you can't do it. If Ore did it, there's no reason you can't do it.
In case you're thinking Ore sounds, great, but I haven't even gotten started yet. Is this thing even possible? Leif started off last year in an entry-level remote sales role as something called an appointment setter, which is a crucial growth skill for business owners, by the way. Setters get paid commissions, which is a low risk to the business because they come into the business on commission basis. There's no salary. And what setters are saying is that I'm going to come in and I'm going to work and I'm going to find you leads. I'm going to nurture these leads and I'm going to get them ready to have a sales conversation with you. And you don't need to pay me anything, by the way, until that sale converts. So the business owner has no reason to not work with a setter, right? And a setter is a perfect example of what I call a growth architect, because then he just needs the opportunity to leverage, to use his skill and create thousands of dollars. So from there, he became a sales manager. And that was when he met this guy, right? Who's the founder of Great Digital Agency, David Ani, right? So Leif was everything David wanted, because David was the CEO of the business and he wanted to remove himself from the sales department. And when he found Leif, it was like perfect. Leif eventually, because he realized how much upside he was bringing to the business, negotiated equity in the business. And in their first month together as business partners, they closed over $60,000 in a single month and have continued on that run consistently for over 6 months. And this was a business that was doing only $20,000 a month. And then Leif, just last year, by the way, he was driving Uber and not knowing what to do with his life. Between last year and now, is now running a multi-six-figure business with someone because he's the perfect example of a growth architect. While many other people who may have learned skills from 2017 are still struggling to land clients because they don't understand this one thing. Which means if you're sitting here thinking, oh man, I don't even have a skill yet, or you can start. And in 2025, appointment setting is one of the fastest paths you can take to becoming a growth architect. Remember when I said, if you think you don't have a skill yet, I'll show you what to learn. You want to search this on YouTube and learn everything you can about it. It's not just us, by the way. This is a principle that every single successful company leverages, okay? Apple, for example, everyone knows Steve Jobs, but they don't know a guy called Mike McCullough, who was an angel investor and active growth strategist for Apple. He wrote their first business plan, gave it credibility, and funded the launch of Apple. He took 1/3 of Apple for the $250,000 investment that he made. So this guy even had money, right? Even though he had money, he still was actively architecting growth in the company. And by the time Apple was public, his stake in the company became $200 million. Even though everyone knew Steve Jobs, there was someone secretly taking home $200 million and they didn't even know his name. McDonald's, right? The famous McDonald's we all know, right? It wasn't the McDonald brothers themselves who took it, to the success that it is today. So we all know McDonald's, and the name comes from two brothers who started McDonald's. They were running a small burger joint when a guy named Ray came into the picture, and Ray was a salesman. He saw the growth potential and eventually bought the brothers themselves out of the business. And on his own, based on the principles that he laid for McDonald's, it's now a $200 billion company. Imagine what his stake in that would be. And then third, we have Facebook, right? Everyone knows Zuckerberg, but Facebook was a hot platform with no revenue. And then a lady named Sheryl Sandberg came in and she created Facebook's advertising playbook. And today, 97% of Facebook's 134 billion annual revenue comes from advertisements, which was the work of Sheryl. And so if by some chance she negotiated, a percentage or equity in Facebook as a result of the work that she did, well, I can only imagine how much money she should have. That takes me to the third shift. I'm going to try and run through this one. Okay, so now you need to go from freelancer to growth architect, which is the final, to recap everything we've been saying. For people who have a digital skill, freelancing feels like freedom, right? No boss, flexible hours, quick cash. But that freedom is an illusion. Why? You're free, but broke. You're responsible for nothing and therefore trusted with nothing. You play it safe, but greatness never comes from safety. It's okay if someone wants to stay a freelancer, but just know that don't expect change if you don't change. And the world itself has changed. They don't need freelancers anymore because AI has entered the game, okay? It doesn't charge by the hour. It doesn't get tired. It doesn't send proposals or negotiate fees. It just works faster, cheaper, and at scale. So the world does not need labor. I myself am one of the people, responsible for people losing their jobs because in our company, we've been replacing people we used to pay with AI. So we built this client acquisition system that we call the CEO funnel, right? Which basically stands for connect, engage, and offer. And that means, you find leads, you find people who want to buy, you speak to them in a way that makes them want to buy, and then you finally make them an offer and then they buy from you, right? And this is what that funnel looks like. Usually you need traffic, then leads come as a result of the traffic, and then you make sales and then they become a client. In the past, we need human beings to make some of these things happen, okay? And I'm going to show you. So 2 years ago, this was the cost of running a system like that, $1,000 a month for lead scrapers. Lead scrapers are freelancers. They do the work of finding the leads. $500 a month to virtual assistants that send connection requests, and $2,500 a month for copywriters to produce daily content. That's like $4,000 every month. Today, we've replaced all of that with one proprietary AI system and one VA to manage it. AI finds the leads, messages them, and with the content, we have one VA that produces the same level of content that 5 copywriters needed to create using our AI system. That's $4,000 a month saved. In a whole year, that's $48,000 that we've helped our clients save. And so paying us $12,000 in comparison to that feels like chicken change. That's why they pay every time. Now, if you're someone who can understand this principle and understand that this is possible and take the same system to businesses, they're going to beg you to take their money. We had a client recently whose contract came to an end, and she thought there was no way to continue working with us, and she was worried and she was scared. And we're like, okay, no, you can continue for $1,500 a month. And she was like, thank God, because I don't know what I would do without you guys, right? And the same person probably has people reaching out to her every single day, asking for jobs, and probably offering it for less, and probably saying they're going to do it for free, and she's not giving them a chance. So when I tell you freelancers are being replaced, I'm not speaking theoretically. I'm speaking as one of the business owners doing it. Businesses don't care about your service or keeping you employed. They care about profitability. So here's the reality. It's not a matter of if you will need to evolve from freelancer to growth architect. It's a matter of when you do it and if you're going to do it early enough. Those who make the shift first will leave everyone else behind, and they will be the ones building the next $1 million companies. No. I didn't say any of that to scare you. Okay? I said it because the rest of the world thinks Africa is 10 years behind. We waste our time pursuing things that everyone else has left behind. Bitcoin, we had it last. Dropshipping, we had it last. When all the early movers had cashed out already. The world was already evolving past traditional education when our parents were forcing us to go to school. For once, I want us to show the world that we can also lead the front lines of a global shift, which is the one that is happening right now. And that's where the growth architect movement comes in, right? So at Dream Life, our mission is simple. We're aiming to help 1,000 experts, coaches, and consultants build real businesses that can scale to millions. We came up with that mission December last year, one of our team retreats, and we aim to do that by 2030. We've reached 70 really fast, and every one of those companies needs setters, operators, and growth architects to build them. The tools, the systems, the partnerships, the playbooks, we created and are continuing to create all of it. We haven't made it accessible to the public yet, but when we do, I don't want you to just hear about it. Yeah, I don't want you to just see everyone else benefit from it. And like I said earlier, there's only a small percentage of you that will have what it takes to be able to hear everything I've said today and not be terrified and instead see it as an opportunity and not think, okay, this is going to take me out of my comfort zone and so I don't want to do it. And those are the people I'm interested in finding, okay? I want you to be the first wave of growth architects shaping the future. So here's what I want you to do. Join the waitlist. It's a simple Google form. Okay? If you scan this QR code, it's going to take you to a Google form. If that doesn't work, tell me, just like wave and speak up and say, your code is not working, sir. And I was looking into that. And when we launch, you'll be the first to get access to the systems we use to scale businesses, the partnerships we're building, and the opportunities to step into real growth architect roles inside the companies that we're growing. The world doesn't need more freelancers. It needs growth architects. The only question left is, are you going to play it safe, or are you going to do what needs to be done to not only sit on the sidelines, but to be on the front lines of the next global movement? Thank you.